So, you want to be a tattooist or a tattoo artist? Cool. Tattooing has and continues to become more and more socially acceptable, and as such, the industry has been growing exponentially and is projected to double by 2030. Traditionally, entering the field means getting an apprenticeship, and while it's been over a decade since I've looked for one, and I know things have changed, from my point of view, tattoo apprenticeships and what it takes to get one haven't changed too much. Since it is a question I get rather consistently, I thought I'd make a video going over the things I normally tell prospective apprentices or their loved ones about things to do, expect, and or how to prepare. As well as some things I often forget and later think, shit, I should have told them, whatever. I have no doubt I'll watch this later and think of some more stuff or see some stuff that I repeated. I'm not claiming to be the be-all, end-all expert, but I'll do my best. I'm just trying to help. Yes, some of this stuff is going to sound completely like common sense, and yet I'm including it because I've seen so many prospective apprentices that just, for whatever reasons, didn't seem to get it or think of certain things. So here we go. So, why get an apprenticeship? Why not just learn on your own? I mean, it's not like it used to be. When I first started thinking about tattooing, there was one book, and other than that, you were on your own. And good luck finding anywhere that would sell tattoo machines or supplies to anyone not working in an actual tattoo shop. Nowadays, with the internet, you have access to several books, seemingly endless tutorials, courses, classes, and recorded seminars accommodating any budget, some completely free. Machines and supplies? Pfft, no problem. There's dozens of sites willing to sell anything to anyone with a credit card. Now, I could be a dick and say, why? Because that's how it's done. But I'll try to elaborate a little bit more. First off, you'll learn better and faster. Learning on your own can often lead to acquiring bad habits that are hard to unlearn. I've worked at shops that had tattooists come in who'd been tattooing at home for months to years, sometimes 10 or more. Some would claim that they'd been making a decent living at it. But every time, we'd have to stop at some point or another and correct them in some way. Yes, sometimes it's a small, easily fixable thing, but sometimes they're things that took time. And depending on the shop and the crew, they might not have time for that. Or they simply might not want to take the time. Sometimes they were things that caused us to basically demote them to apprentice status, and that rarely ever works out well. When it comes right down to it, at its most basic level, tattooing is a technical skill. It's a trade. It's blue collar, like carpentry, plumbing, or electrical work. Learning that skill or set of skills is more important and will benefit your career far more than your art or being an artist ever will. There's a reason some old school tattooists feel like artists fuck this whole thing up. For a good period of time, that old flash that we see or used to see in every shop, as a tattooist, that was your alphabet. You knew those pieces and you knew how to lay them perfectly, and the idea of custom work was just that, an idea. You should want an apprenticeship because you should want what's best for your career and for your clients. Now, there are basically two types of apprenticeships, and each of those have a wide spectrum of how they can go. The two types I'll be talking about here, for the sake of this video, are what I'll be calling traditional and paid. A traditional apprenticeship is one where you're basically working off your apprenticeship by being of service to the shop. That can mean many different things, but usually at least entails doing shop chores. That can mean working around the shop, keeping it clean, sweeping, mopping, vacuuming, cleaning the bathrooms, windows, counters, what some may refer to as bitch work. Whatever they ask. Very often it can include learning to set up and setting up the shop's artist stations before they do a tattoo, as well as breaking them down when they're done. It may not include any of that. A paid apprenticeship is just that, an apprenticeship you pay for. I've seen or heard of apprenticeships as low as $2,000 and as high as $10,000. I've seen paid apprenticeships that had the apprentice do all the aforementioned bitch work, and some that were like, no, fuck that. You're paying to learn like you're going to college or trade school. And I would say, regardless of how yours goes, that's how you should think of it. I've seen some that provided apprentice with their first machine, or machines and ink, along with drawing supplies and even their own website. I've seen some that provided absolutely nothing but the opportunity. Both apprenticeships will, of course, include a lot of watching the shop's artists while they tattoo, as well as various technical assignments in and out of the shop. If you get a paid apprenticeship, there better be a written contract. This could or should detail what you will pay and how, what is expected of you, what you will learn, the duration of your apprenticeship, what you'll be supplied with, and what you're expected to supply yourself. Are you guaranteed a spot in the shop when you're done? If so, for how long? How long are you expected to stay there? Is there a no-compete clause? If so, what is its range and duration? Not all traditional apprenticeships will have a written contract, as they're traditionally kind of a handshake deal, but it can't hurt. Both apprenticeships can last from 6 months to 2 years. Sometimes it depends on you. Sometimes it's a hard set date. I've heard of shorter, and I've heard of longer. Okay, the first thing you're probably going to hear from just about everybody is draw. Draw, draw, draw. Draw till you're sick of drawing, and then draw some more. And that's valid. Do draw. Do practice drawing. Draw things you like, draw things you don't like. Practice tracing. Be honest with yourself and practice pushing yourself in spots that you know you're weak. But where I may differ from others is I'm going to stress knowing how to draw. And by that I mean know why you're drawing what you're drawing. No, I don't mean like, I'm drawing this because I like it and I think it's cool. I mean, know why the shading is like it is. Why is a highlight here and not there? Know your terms or artist vocabulary. Is that shading or a shadow? Core shadow, cast shadow, drop shadow. What is reflected light? What's perspective? What's the difference between a value and a U? What's negative space? What's crosshatching? What's stippling? What's scumbling? Knowing all that stuff versus not knowing that stuff is almost like being able to copy words from a book versus being able to copy them and know what they mean. Does it make sense? And is the grammar correct? Simply being able to render something that you're looking at is a great skill to have. But if all your knowledge of drawing comes from aping other people's drawings, at some point, that will present some problems. Sometimes big problems. Don't become complacent. Always strive to know more and do better. Now, I personally always recommend someone goes ahead and gets an associate's degree. No, not for your apprenticeship, for you. To be a more well-rounded and knowledgeable individual in general. You don't have to go to some fancy-ass college. Your local junior college will probably do. At the very least, take some 101 level art classes. 2D, 3D design, or fundamentals. Learn color theory. Take some art history classes. And I know, those classes can suck if the teacher sucks. They can be hell. But nothing worthwhile is easy. You'll probably have to do it on your own, but learn tattoo history, from its ancient roots through its modern roots till now. No, there's not going to be a quiz at some point, but knowing where things come from and what others have been through is good to know, and good to help you appreciate how lucky we are to be where we are now. And for God's sakes, learn how to fucking spell. You don't have to win the World Spelling Bee Championship, but you do. Know your basics, man. Come on. At least have a dictionary handy and use it. Every phone and computer have spell check on them nowadays. There's really no excuse for misspelling shit anymore. I should not have to explain that any further. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, I want a tattoo. I don't need to be an expert in that. Okay. You may think that you don't need to be an expert, but you need to be knowledgeable. And you know who does think you should be an expert? Your clients. Your clients will be expecting you to be an expert, to be an authority. Your clients expect you, the professional, to know more than them. Will you run across clients at some point that know more than you? Sure, that may happen. But the vast majority of people will not. A big part of tattooing is making your clients feel at ease, comfortable, and confident that they are with the right person. You need to be an expert, the authority. Would you rather undergo your surgery with someone who just knew how to use the tools and what everything should look like? Or someone who knew all of that, along with a deep knowledge of anatomy, physiology, medical practice, and procedures, as well as its history? Now, I say all this with the caveat. Know what you don't know. And by that I mean, you can be a professional and have an air of authority without coming across as a know-it-all or an asshole. What you do know, no matter how well you know it, will not make you better than others. If you don't know something, admit it. Don't fake it. Don't lie to your clients or co-workers, and definitely don't lie to someone you are hoping to apprentice under. Also, if you're watching this and you said or thought, I can't, or I'm just not good at, stop. Quit saying that shit. When you say that, you're not just telling people that. You're telling yourself that over and over and over. From now on, those phrases need to end with yet or but I'm working on it. I can't yet. I'm not good at whatever yet. I can't whatever, but I'm working on it. I'm not good at whatever, but I'm working on it. And then work on it. So, how do you approach shops about apprenticeships? Traditionally, one would get tattooed by the shop that they're hoping to work at, end up hanging around and working up a relationship with them to a point where eventually they would ask if you were interested in tattooing. Things have drastically changed over time, though. It should go without saying that you should get tattooed before considering this as a career. Yes, that's just my opinion, and there are tattooists who are not tattooed, but they're rare. I'm not saying or even suggesting that you have to be completely covered, but at least know and witness the process firsthand in a professional shop. While searching for my apprenticeship, I tried all of these methods. I called, I emailed or contacted the shop or artist through social media, first to ask if they would even be open to considering taking on an apprentice. Or I just dropped into the shop. If you go the email or social media route, send along a few pieces of your work. Drawings, paintings, clean finished work, not links to your work. Regardless of how you do it, try to have some knowledge of the shop beforehand. How long have they been around? Have they had apprentices before? Do they have a specific style? What's their reputation? When going in, be presentable. Don't look like you just rolled out of fucking bed. This isn't a job interview. This is a career interview. You should be putting your best face forward. Likewise, your work should be presentable, clean, finished, varied, easy to look at, perhaps in a portfolio similar to this. Have the best work up front. They may not look through the whole thing. Do not go in there expecting motherfuckers to pull up your Instagram or look at your phone. Some may want to see finished work as well as a sketchbook, so it's not a bad idea to have one along as well, but it won't always be necessary. Be prepared to have a thick skin. Don't take shit personal. Be positive, be polite, and be honest. Expect hard questions and criticism. Don't get defensive. Nobody wants to hear excuses or arguments. If you don't even have the spot yet and you're already being difficult, ain't nobody got time for that. You should be thinking of yourself as an empty cup, an empty vessel, looking to be filled. No matter your skill or talent level, take in whatever you can from whoever you can. You came to them. They did not come looking for you. It took me 4 years to get an apprenticeship. In that time, I was in a lot of tattoo shops and met a lot of tattooists and tattoo artists. I met a lot of good people, and I met some assholes. I got some good advice, and I heard some stupid shit. Learn what you can and let the rest roll. I have tattoo friends I never worked with but met along that journey that were cool to me, and that's never a bad thing. Now, I think I had a pretty laid back approach, but I have seen guys be kind of aggressive. They just kept showing up and doing their best to be of service. Like, hey, I noticed your windows could use a cleaning. Could I sweep up around here for you? Man, there's a ton of garbage out in front. You got a bag? I could clean that up for you. Hey, you guys need some coffee? I could run and grab that for you. Sometimes that approach can get your foot in the door. Learn to read a room. Some people it will irritate. Some people will see that you really want it and want to work with you because of that. Make sure you can keep your commitments. It's good to be driven and stay positive, but be honest with yourself. If the place you're looking at is too far from you and could possibly be a problem, it probably will be at some point, despite your best intentions. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can end up seeming unreliable just because life happens. It is generally not a good idea for you to be tattooing beforehand. Sometimes that can end the conversation right there. Tattooing at home or on your own can often cause a person to develop habits that are hard to unlearn and are an extra hurdle for your potential mentors. They may not want to deal with that. This may be changing as more quality education and tutorials have become available to the public, but I wouldn't count on it. If you really want this, be patient. No, don't do it. Don't waste your money. Okay. You may be able to learn some things, but professional tattooing in a shop is not something you learn in a week or two. Tattoo schools are not generally respected in any way within the tattoo community. I think I've heard of one that some professionals have kind of backed and that the guy running has a good reputation, but I don't remember anything about it right now. I am pretty open to new ideas and new things in general, so if I don't know anything about it, I'm willing to bet most tattooists don't yet either. Maybe that will change as time goes on. Like I said though, that's one out of probably a dozen or more out there hoping to take your money. Walking into a tattoo shop looking for a spot, saying that you've gone to tattoo school, may get you laughed out of there. Or at the very least, they'll view it in the same way as if you said you just started tattooing at home. If you want to tattoo professionally as more than just some fun hobby or interest, get an apprenticeship. Okay, here's some extra things I believe are necessary or at least important to mention. As a tattooist or a tattoo artist, you will most likely become an independent contractor, self-employed. You'll be a business. So it would do you well to be prepared. Tattooing's not just hanging out and having fun and drawing all day. As I started out with, the industry is growing every day. Yes, as the stigma of tattoos continues to fade away, more and more people are getting tattooed, but more and more people are tattooing. And as such, very often you'll not be the only game in town anymore. That game is changing as the industry grows. In the old days, one could rely on word of mouth, location, and maybe getting some pics or work into some magazines. When social media came along, we just had to make sure we posted nice pics of our work regularly. Our work could speak for itself, and doing your best was kind of enough. However, that's no longer the case. And more than likely, by the time you are into your tattooing career, the way things are now will have completely changed or evolved at least once or twice more. So, you could do future you a huge favor and read some books, watch some videos, and or take some classes on business, running a business, marketing, communication, relationship or rapport building, things like that. There are amazing tattooists and tattoo artists out there whose books and wallets are empty because they're either unable or unwilling to get with the times and update their skill set. I cannot stress enough how important it will be for you to be prepared to always be rolling with the changes and to always be learning. Valuable skills may not only benefit you, but they may help you make you an asset to your friends and colleagues and the shops that you work at. The more you can help others, the more help you can get. Be prepared to be a resource, to be able to be of service to others. No tattooist is an island. Another thing to keep in mind, as a tattooist, your job is basically sitting. You'll sit to tattoo, you'll sit to draw, you'll sit to when you go home to relax, you'll sit to eat, You'll sit to drive, and I'm betting you can guess what I'm about to say is one of the worst things for the human body. That's right, it's sitting. And that's not even touching on what this career can do for your back if you don't learn how to sit properly, or what it will do for your hands and wrists if you don't learn to warm them up and care for them properly. So I would highly suggest taking up some sort of regular physical hobby involving moving. Just taking the dogs for a walk, while that's good and better than nothing, isn't going to cut it. Get your ass into some kind of gym regularly. Work out, rock climb, swim, martial arts, yoga, hiking, anything and everything you can do to offset all the sitting that you will be doing. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to be some kind of competition athlete. Maybe you don't even care. Like I said, this is just extra shit, and I think it's important to share. Keep it in mind. All right, so there it is. My spiel on getting an apprenticeship. And that doesn't even really cover getting through your apprenticeship. That's a job for a whole other video entirely. I hope it helps somebody. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like and a comment. If you didn't like it, please keep it to yourself and make your own damn video. Everyone else, peace, good luck. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I hope to see you around.